Hey, what's going on, everybody? Max here with BB, and today for 10 Minutes Max, we're going to be talking about the recent shakeouts and blood in crypto and what that potentially means for 2025 and the remainder of this cycle. Let's not waste any time. Let's dive right into the charts. So, first things first, we need to zoom out a bit. All right. I find that during times like this, there's a healthy balance of coping on the lower time frames and needing to zoom out to remind yourself, hey, I may be down bad locally, but I'm playing the long game with this cycle. And sometimes you find yourself on the 5 minute time frame flip flopping high time frame biases based on how the 5 minute candle closes. And you can't play that game. So let this serve as a quick reminder to you are here positioned, you have been for months or maybe as of recently. The big money is going to be made for the remainder of this cycle by zooming out and playing the higher time frames. So there's your official reminder, but I want to go through a few examples here because the correction that we're seeing right here locally, in my opinion, is nothing to worry about at all. Yes, it might suck. We never want to see red candles, but unfortunately, red candles are, it pains me to admit it, a very healthy part of a financial market. Okay. So let's actually take a little trip back in time here. All right. So this is Bitcoin. We're on like the 2 day time frame. I just have like a simple moving average band on here. We're on the 2 day time frame just so you can kind of see, like when we're in a bear market versus a bull market, whatever. Ignore the band if you don't like it. But what I want to talk to you guys about is what we typically see every single cycle, which is these big, multi-week or month corrections are not out of the ordinary at all for Bitcoin and crypto. And you might be wondering, well, Max, Bitcoin, that's great, but what about my altcoin bags? We have to start here with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the king. Bitcoin determines what your altcoins are going to do. And if you stick around, we're going to get really deep into the altcoins as well. But we have to talk about Bitcoin first, okay? So let's actually go down to the daily just so we can be precise with our measurements. Here was the previous Bitcoin all-time high right here from 2 cycles ago. So from the 2013 high until when we decided to break it again in 2017. All right. So new Bitcoin all-time high. I officially have it as like right here. You could probably argue maybe it was here, but like we'll call it really price discovery happened right here. So this was our first high time frame correction that Bitcoin had once it was in price discovery, which is what we're doing right now. Okay, but we're going to show a few examples here. I mean, how nasty was this little correction, right? I mean, how textbook is that? Like little diagonal trend line breakdown. The amount of people I wasn't trading at the time that clearly could have drawn this and said, "Oh yeah, there was your bull trap, sweep of the high bull trap. This was a deviation, you know, everyone who bought up here is going to get destroyed." Then they break it down off this trend line. How many people at the time you think were looking at this just going like, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this, straight to Goblin Town?" And that just didn't happen, right? Because they weren't able to properly apply context to look how long you had been accumulating here and grinding up, working your way back into price discovery. And then after a nice move, you get your first high time frame correction once you're in price discovery. And this one, we'll just say from the Schmiko top, until when we got back into price discovery, which was, really, I would say this was the candle that sent you back into price discovery. Price had dipped 40%. So it went from, 3,000 per Bitcoin down to 1,800 per Bitcoin. And it took 54 days to drop and then get back into price discovery. So just under 2 months, right? And then, of course, this is in log mode. You can see what the chart really looked like. I mean, this is what it ended up doing. So I think you need to properly apply context to your pullbacks and say like, okay, one, we're still holding structure. Two, first high time frame correction after breaking out, into price discovery. And then, again, look, so here, I'll put this back on here. So this one was This one was minus 40%. Okay, and it took over a month to really bottom. This one is 40%, so about the same as the other one. This one, all the way up here, it's 30%. And then eventually, you kind of chopped your way into a cycle top. But it was like 10x higher than these, So anyways, let's keep it moving. Let's go to the next cycle. This was last cycle. We finally get into price discovery right here. Here we go. And actually, look at this one. We top here at 42K. And we had a minus 31% correction until when we got back into price discovery, it took us 31 days. So a 30% plus correction in 30 days last cycle. Okay. And then we ultimately, trekked higher. From the low of this correction being down at 29K, we ended up going up to almost 60K on the next push, right? And then, of course, this was kind of a weird cycle, right, where you had this like really crazy kind of distributive top. Then you had another, 26% top drop right there. And then, you can see, I don't need to take measured moves, but you can see how many you got. And then even this was such a weird cycle, but then even from like the all-time high until, the capitulatory summer lows, it was minus 55. I don't think this cycle is going to be like, the last cycle. This last cycle, 2021, it feels a lot more like liquidity driven. It feels a lot more, we only really pumped hard because they printed so much money rather than there was like true adoption and stuff like that, which I would argue this cycle, we have reason to debate that. But anyways, I digress. We can talk about all that later, okay? So what are we seeing right now? And these are just a few examples. And then we're going to get more down into the weeds. So you better keep watching because it's going to get even better than this, I promise, okay? We just have to set the stage. We have to be thorough. What are we seeing right here? We finally get up into price discovery. We topped here in 2021. We spent multiple years, grinding here. And then we did something even more pronounced. What we did was we ranged here for 8 months. Okay. This was an 8-month range. This whole thing right here was an 8-month range. And then, of course, conveniently, we break through the previous cycle all-time high after basically putting in a giant cup and handle or bull flag at the previous cycle all-time high, and we finally break out. So what are we seeing right here? We're seeing our first high time frame correction while in price discovery, which is exactly just like the examples that we went through from the previous 2 cycles. So what are we doing right now? Topped at 108. So far, we're down about 17%. Do we have to go lower? No. Could we go lower? It's possible, right? You don't really know for sure, okay? I could see it going either way, and we can talk about that as well. But the point here is that if you, historically speaking, if you had sold on the first bit of red after going into price discovery, you would have been selling at the wrong time, okay? You would have sold, if you sold the first bit of drawdown after a break into price discovery, you would have sold not even the top. You would have sold the low here. You would have sold, this was a $2,000 Bitcoin. You would have sold a $2,000 Bitcoin and it went to 20K. You would have sold a 30K Bitcoin last cycle and it went to 69K. Okay. But what you really would have missed was not just the Bitcoin move. You would have missed the best part of the cycle. I know we're already 9 minutes into this video. We're going over 10 minutes. All right. You wouldn't have just missed out on Bitcoin. You would have missed out on the reason that we're all truly here. Alt season. Okay. Something pronounced happens every single time Bitcoin comes out of its first high time frame correction after getting into price discovery. Let's pull it up. Actually, yeah, we could do it here. Why not? We'll do it live because we've already committed to going over 10 minutes. I had a chart saved, but we can go over. It's fine. Okay. So this right here is others dominance. All right, I need to go to the 2-day. This right here is others dominance. Now, what is others dominance? For those that are new here, others dominance is everything in crypto outside of the top 10 crypto assets by market cap. So think of it as an index for altcoins. I've also joked, but not joked, that it's a shitcoin ETF. All right. It's a basket of your altcoins, but it excludes the biggest ones. So you take out Bitcoin's not an altcoin, but you take out Bitcoin, you take out ETH, you take out BNB, you take out XRP, you take out Solana, you take out Doge, all the stuff in the top 10. You take that out and then you put it together. Now, this is that, but represented as a percentage of everything in crypto, right? So right now, that shitcoin ETF represents 10% of crypto, right? And alt season, I think, should be defined as, one of two things. Either we could call it ETH BTC rallying, or we could call it others dominance moving up. Either one to me is fine, right? But right now we're going to look at others dominance. We could look at ETH BTC as well, right? So what do we see after this high time frame correction? Let's mark it out. After the first high time frame correction, what we see is the following. Right there. And right there. Okay. So let's start with last cycle. Okay. What we saw was Bitcoin went into price discovery, had its first high time frame correction. I'll even go down to the daily here. Give me a second. Had its first high time frame correction, funny enough, in January of 2021. And then what we saw once it rallied out of this little gully, what we saw was altcoins went crazy, or others dominance went nuts. So let me actually show you what that means, right? Because you might be confused. You might be like, what are you talking about here? Like, I don't understand. Bitcoin went up, but the dominance, I don't get it. Let me show you. Okay. So here's the actual index right here. All right. Here's the index. So this is others. This is your shitcoin ETF. All right. Bitcoin up top, others dominance down below, which is the percentage of what this ETF here, all your altcoins outside the top 10 representing crypto. Now, from the low of this gully, Bitcoin to its first high went up 124%. Okay. When Bitcoin came out of the first high time frame correction last cycle and went to new highs, what did altcoins do during that same period of time? We'll measure it from the same day that Bitcoin bottomed here. Okay. The same day. Altcoins went up 630%, while Bitcoin went up 124%. So that's what I mean when I say, yes, if you sell on the scary drop after the first high time frame correction for Bitcoin after going into price discovery, you will likely miss out on a lot of gains for Bitcoin. But what you will really miss out on is the altcoin gains, okay? Because alt season starts when Bitcoin comes out of that first high time frame correction. Now let's look at last cycle, or sorry, 2 cycles ago. So what do we see here? Timing was a little bit different, but not really. Bitcoin puts in its first high time frame correction while in price discovery. Then, if you had bought altcoins instead, and we'll do it on the same day, Bitcoin went up basically 1,000%, almost on the money. That's beautiful. And let's see from that same low what altcoins did. Altcoins went up almost 3,000%. You see what I'm talking about here? So that's why others dominance moves up, right? That's why others dominance means that Bitcoin is in price discovery, but your altcoin index is outperforming it, right? So what are we doing right now? Well, pretty similarly to last cycle, right? And this cycle will probably be different, in a lot of ways. I mean, they all have their own kind of like theme to it, and the timing is always a little, it's never perfect, but it's pretty close. What we're seeing right now is this first high time frame correction. I expect Bitcoin to recover out of it wherever the bottom is. Maybe it's in, maybe it's not. It doesn't matter. Okay. And what I'm expecting is this others dominance chart to move up aggressively, just like last cycle. And here, I actually want to move over because I've got a much better looking others dominance chart. right here. So this is others dominance. Go to the 5-day. All right, we'll go to the weekly. Others dominance has been doing the same pattern basically since 2015, right? So let's throw Bitcoin up there down on the bottom now, and we'll identify that first high time frame correction. Okay. So last cycle, it was right here. 2 cycles ago, it was right here. So it was a little different, right? We had already kind of moved up on others dominance. And I think this was more a result of like altcoins were brand new, more or less, right here. So you got kind of like a big, gap up here. But point being is it still went up then after it came down from 6%, to 12%, which is huge. If Bitcoin's in price discovery and others dominance pulls a 2x, that's huge for your altcoins, right? So what are we doing right now? Well, we probably just put in this for this first high time frame, high or low, our second green dot. Bitcoin's in its, corrective pattern after being in price discovery, which means we're somewhere around here. We're somewhere like in here. And you're most likely going to see when Bitcoin comes out of this gully, what you're going to see is you're going to see this others dominance chart rip higher. So it's like I want to just kind of come here and like speak, very, very high time frame, like in general, and just be like, this is just not the time to, freak out and panic at all. Like, let's look at this one as well. Okay. So this is the Bitcoin cycles chart that I've made. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. Talked about it on Twitter. I've had it in previous videos. All right. But the previous 2 cycles, here, I got to make this black. The previous 2 cycles from bear market low through global cycle peak were more or less the exact same amount of time, which is pretty crazy, right? So overlaying our current bit of price action, which is in black, with the previous 2 cycles, you can see that we are right on track. We first started talking about this, this chart over here and here and here. We were talking about this saying like this next part of the cycle is the fun part. And that doesn't mean it's easy. You're going to get big corrections and they become scary, but it's the most fun part. It's the most lucrative part if you can deal with it. And not everybody can deal with it. So looking at this chart, I mean, look at this. Here's the corrections we were talking about. Right? And this one was actually the one we were talking about. But like from global cycle bottom all the way through, like this is where we should be correcting, is right around the new year. Think about all the people that maybe were deeply in profit and wanted to wait until, 2025 to sell so their tax liabilities in 2026 or something like that. Like there's so many different reasons. And we also have Trump coming into office in like a week. Everybody's worried about, a peaceful transfer of power, just, things like that. Like, let's just get through it, and get on with it. Right. And we need to, just kind of wait it out. But we're right on track here. And I'm telling you, like the next part of this cycle, assuming Bitcoin, rolls back up out of this little gully, this is the part that you don't want to miss. Right. If this time's different, then we're all going to get wrecked. Right. But I don't have any evidence to suggest at this point that this time is different. I have not seen it be different at all. Nothing yet. Right on track, right on schedule. Okay. Now, I've got another chart. We can go over one more while we're here. This is a chart that a lot of you are probably familiar with as well. This is my, I first posted this back here in like March, pretty sure. Of last year. But this is Bitcoin with the US presidential elections marked out. And then also in red, I marked out the inauguration dates. Okay. So not just when we have an election in November, but when a president, either a new president or the same one stays in office, when that rollover officially happens, right? So basically just like the 3rd week of January is marked out on these. Okay. But really, what's more important than that, inauguration aside, just look at the U.S. presidential election, guys. Look at that. It's the blue lines, okay? We see the same thing every single time, okay? U.S. presidential election, we move up into the election. We get chops along the way. In hindsight, you laugh at it and you're like, I can't believe I was nervous about that, or I wouldn't have been nervous during that. They look small in hindsight, but in the moment, it feels big. And we rallied after the first one here in 2012 for 384 days until we were topped. 2 cycles ago, we grind up into the election, get a bunch of little corrections. And again, they look little. They were big in the moment, 30, 40% corrections. We rallied for 405 days, so just over a year, same as this one. How about last cycle? We grind up into the election. I know we had COVID, but this is still an uptrend, very much so, accumulation. We get some corrections, and we rallied for just over a year from the date of the election to the global cycle peak. What are we doing this time? We're grinding up into the election. We are getting our most forward-facing, openly bullish, crypto positive, friendly president of all time who has his own NFT collection, surrounded himself with people that are very bullish on the industry. He even spoke at the Bitcoin conference. I mean, come on. He congratulated Bitcoiners on 100K Bitcoin. Like, that's the guy. That's the guy. Love him or hate him, that's the guy that's coming into office. We've never had that before. Love him or hate him, if you own crypto, objectively, it's going to be better for crypto than it has been. Gary Gensler's leaving office. He doesn't exactly love crypto, right? Or at least doesn't seem like that, okay? What are we going to do this time? Do you really think that now suddenly we're about to diverge with like one of the more bullish setups and political backdrops that we've ever had? No, I don't. I showed you a lot of charts today, like the Bitcoin cycles chart. We're right on track. Others dominance. We're right on track. It should be alt season whenever we come out of this little gully. Okay. ETH BTC should rally. ETH USD should rally off the back of that. ETH's the largest altcoin. ETH season's coming. Just be patient. We went over a lot of different things today. High time frame corrections. You know how these 20, 30, 40% corrections. I'm not expecting something that big. The higher Bitcoin goes, I believe the more stable it will become. More supportive flows, things like that. We don't, we typically don't see the same kind of correction. We don't see the same volatility of the upside and the same, corrections, bloody to the downside that we've seen, in the past, right? It's becoming a more mature asset and asset class. It doesn't mean it can't get nasty. This is pretty nasty, right? But I think that this next phase of the cycle is the best part, right? You're probably like in golf terms, you're probably on hole 12 right now. You made the turn. You're getting into the back nine. Should you be shoving a bunch more money in here? I think there's some opportunity in select altcoins for sure. Like looking at ETH this morning under 3K, like ETH's going above 10K easy in my opinion. I don't see how it wouldn't pull a 2x from its all-time high last cycle. That's an opportunity. ETH ecosystem plays, ETH beta for sure. Some new L1s, yeah, for sure. Right? But just know like you're getting into the back nine a bit here. But the back nine is when the fun happens. It's when the froth settles in. And when Bitcoin comes out of this high time frame correction, I don't want to hear any comments from you guys that said you got shaken out, right? Because this is not the place to get shaken out. You had so much crap that you held through last year just to call it quits on January 13th, following a Bitcoin halving year a week before Trump takes office. I think this next part is going to be really fun. You just got to get through this little correction here. But anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Before you guys go, please consider liking the video and also subscribing if you found some value out of what we just did here today. And last but not least, guys, please consider checking out the links below. BB Terminal is an absolutely awesome product, guys. It's a Swiss Army knife. It's got all of the tools and data that you could ever need or want in order to succeed in these markets. And we custom built it here at BB. We spent about 9 months to about a year, actually, building this thing from scratch, and we are now in beta, so you can actually use it. It's heavily discounted right now, and if you buy the BB Terminal, you can also pay in crypto, guys. You check that out. You can pay in crypto. You're going to get access to our Telegram alerts channel also, but if you really want to take your trading to the next level, guys, check out one of our Discord packages. What you can expect there is 3 hours per day of private live voice calls with me and the entire BB team and community. We have active positions channels, TA channels, things that we don't talk about here on YouTube or on X, guys. There's nothing like it out there. And within the BB Discord, you're going to get free access to the BB terminal included for free. There is not another community out there doing what we're doing, guys. So we continue to reinvest our time and our money into the community, and that's why people love it and they stay. So this market is too big to navigate alone. I encourage you to get out there, find your group. We certainly want to be that group for you. Maybe, you know, it's not what you're looking for. Maybe it's exactly what you're looking for, but my trading has gotten exponentially better. My confidence in these markets has gotten exponentially better when I surrounded myself with the guys on the BB team and the BB community. A bunch of guys, like-minded individuals that take it seriously. So definitely consider checking out one of our Discord packages. But if not, join us with BB Terminal plus Telegram. Last but not least, guys, check out the BB Academy. If you like my charting here today and you want to learn all of our tips, tricks, secrets, everything like that, how we cumulatively as a team here at BB have navigated these markets from a technical and fundamental perspective for decades, check out the BB Academy, guys. I just dropped a free course, how to make your TradingView charts look beautiful. Important first step. If you don't know how to look at the data and manipulate the data to be easier to understand, you're going to struggle. So check out that free course. But if you really want to take it to the next level and expedite your journey towards understanding these markets, check out the paid course, guys. There's nothing like it out there. I honestly can say with confidence, it's one of the best courses, if not the best trading courses for all levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced. It covers everything you need to know. So a lot of people out there, myself included, teaching TA for free and FA. But there's a difference between a paid product and a free product, and you guys will see that if you join the BB Academy. It's an absolutely awesome course. But yeah, join us somewhere, guys. Join us in the Discord. Check out BB Terminal. Check out BB Academy. You can pay in crypto now for our services, so major benefit. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for being here. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Take care.